Well, our class this morning is on the Singhnia of Guru Gobind Singh's time. So the women of Guru Gobind Singh's time. Most of my adult life has been spent in the security industry. And I spent my seva for the Sri Singh Sahib was as a bodyguard, and my career is with a call security. So it's not that I'm a feminist. I'm actually not. I don't think that women are equal to men. I think that they're much greater than men. And the Sri Singh Sahib actually agrees with me. So he said, women think with both sides of their brains. Men only think with one side of their brain. And to witness this, any of you that are married are going to start laughing when I give you the example. Have you ever tried to talk to your husband when he's reading the newspaper? It can't be done. And it's not, you get angry with him, but he's not hearing you because he simply can't read and talk at the same time. Where a woman can read, talk on the phone, watch the television, and take care of her kids at the same time, and flip prantas at the same time. We use both sides of our brains simultaneously. There's a reason for that. Women actually are the ones that can reach up into a kalpurak to bring down a soul. It's not because we're great, it's because we have a great job to do, and that is to bring conscious children into the earth. And so that's our duty to do, and that's why we have these faculties and facilities. And I can't tell you the very first time that it was in India, and I was on bodyguard duty, and it was approached to me that it was an inappropriate thing to do, and that women really shouldn't have that type of role, because look, women didn't stand up as the Panch Pyare. So why should we claim an equal role? And it took me years to find the answer to that, and I'll answer it at the end of the class. And now it's something that's very, very clear to me. For this class, actually many of the women here have already gone through this class with me. It's my most favorite topic. So I ask you to sit through it and listen to it again because I love saying it over and over again. And those men that are here, I ask you to come into your feminine self. There's a masculine self in women, and there's a feminine self in men. And in the spiritual context, every man is feminine compared to God. That's why even the gurus put themselves in that position. That is not a position of secondary. That's a position of openness. It's a position of supplication. It's a position of embracing. So put yourself in your feminine thoughts just for a few minutes. And hopefully I can give you some examples of the women in Guru Gobind Singh's life that will change your mind about how the mind of a woman works. Guru Gobind Singh, actually in the Dasam Granth, half of the Dasam Granth is written in the feminine tense. Half of the Dasam Granth is written about the feminine aspect. The Chandi Divar, the Chandi Charitras, and even the Pukyan are about the feminine aspect. So the Singhnia was not something that was overlooked by Guru Gobind Singh. He knew that the aspect of womankind was an essential part of how the universe worked. So back to the original question. I look forward to that. Now nobody dares say this to me, but I look forward to the day when some Sikh will come up to me and said, well, if women were supposed to fight, how come they didn't stand up and become one of the Panch Pyare? Well, after the death of Guru Gobind Singh, Mata Sundari led the Khalsa for 40 years. There was no man great enough to stand and take the place of Guru Gobind Singh. For 40 years, the Khalsa was led by a woman. It was Mata Sundari who collected the Dasam Granth. She sent Sikhs out to all the land of the Punjab to bring back the writings of her husband, and she verified that it was the true writings and put it together in the Dasam Granth. So my answer is, I'm forever grateful for those Singhs of the Khalsa who stood on that day. But my question back to you is, how come no man could lead the Khalsa at the time of need? It took a woman to do that job. So the men did their job, and the women did our job. And that's the answer to that question. 80 years later, after the death of Guru Gobind Singh, after the Sikh missiles had risen up in the Punjab, Baba Bagal Singh actually conquered Delhi for a short period of time. And when the Sikhs rode into Delhi as conquerors, it was a bloodless coup. The Mughals at that point just let them in because the reputation of the Sikhs had been so incredible that when the Sikhs came to the gates of Delhi, the emperor just let them in. Said, okay, now what? We're not going to fight. And riding along with the Singhs were the Singhnia. They were actually in the battles with the men 80 years later. And this is a quote from the Naveen Pant Prakash by Gyani Gyan Singh, who is one of the very authentic historians. It's written in 1877. It's about 100 years after it happened. And he took this from the writings of the Mughals of when the Sikhs came in. When they got there, the people in the palace saw, the women of the palace saw the women Sikhs, the Singhnia, and they were shocked to see these women riding with their men. And so they asked the emperor if they could have a meeting in the harem, with the Sikh women. They wanted to talk to them. And so the emperor consented, and they made arrangements. And so the Sikh women made preparations to go visit. Dressed in Sikh bana, this is a quote from Gyani Gyan Singh. Dressed in Sikh bana, they wore weapons, chakras and kirpans, a total of 40 kilos of weapon and armor. They were strong and powerful and graceful. The young women and the old women dressed the same. So 5 Singhnia dressed in the full battle dress like a man, getting dressed and ready and taking a few Sardars with them. The Singhnia sent off towards the royal palace. The powerful Singhs stood outside, and all the royal women came out to see them. The Singhs were wearing many weapons and had great moustaches and beards. Their eyes were full of battle, and their eyebrows were dark and bushy. Standing there in their great form and beauty, it was as if they were the incarnation of the warrior spirit. The Begums, the Muslim ladies that were in the harem, the Begums were astonished, and they sent the Singhs gifts of welcome. And saluting the Singhs, they sent them away, and then they turned to the Singhnia and took them into the palace. The Singhnia said, Sat Sri Akal, and the Begums replied, Salam. And they sat down. Seeing their form and their strong bodies, dressed in armor and weapons, the Begums listened to the Singhnia's conversation of plunder and war. They spoke of how to hunt, how to aim with bows and muskets, and hearing them, they were astonished. Under their salwars, they wore kachera, and seeing their great clothes and listening to their manly words, the Begums were astounded. 4 of the Singhnia had special dress, wearing silver ornaments of 20 pounds in weight. Seeing this, they were awestruck. Their salwars were 20 yards long. I just would love to see salwars that were 20 yards long. Their salwars were 20 yards long, and their damalas stood a span and a half high. Their kameez were of special design, and their physiques were large and healthy. Hearing of the chastity, sincerity, and morals of the Sikhs, the Begums spoke, nodding their heads, Singhnia, you are of great destiny. You will move about freely with your husbands, while we are pathetic and suffer greatly. Our life is a life of imprisonment, where one king has 60 wives. By marrying, we are like birds trapped in a cage, while you are free. And that was the Singhnia in 1781. My Bago, the one who was honored to be the bodyguard of Guru Gobind Singh, who earned that privilege by her own right, and by her actions set the path for all of us other women who've walked in those shoes ever since. We have the right to fight. We have the strength to fight. We can be soldiers and we can be mothers. We can be scholars and we can be feminine. We can be whatever we want.